What happens when loyalty turns to betrayal and secrets are no longer safe behind closed doors? In a shocking twist rocking gospel and reality TV circles, Tiffany Mann has leaked an explosive audio recording, and it's sending shockwaves through fans and insiders alike. Allegedly catching David Mann and Dr. Jackie in a jaw-dropping plot to sabotage Tamela Mann, this recording may expose deep fractures within a beloved family and faith-based community. But is it real? Or a calculated takedown? Buckle up, because what you're about to hear might just change everything you thought you knew. The silence that broke the kingdom. It started with a flicker, an unexpected interruption in the curated perfection of a gospel dynasty. For years, the Mann family stood as icons in the faith and music community, radiant in their love, grounded in their testimony, and admired for their resilience and talent. Their concerts filled auditoriums, their sermons stirred souls, and their social media feeds were mosaics of blessings and Bible verses. But beneath the polished surface was a fracture so deep, so deliberately hidden, that it would take an explosion to expose it. That explosion came in the form of a live stream, raw, unfiltered, and undeniably real. Tiffany Mann, daughter of David and Tamela Mann, had been silent for weeks following a string of cryptic news about her mother's sudden health decline. The public had speculated: stroke, mental breakdown, exhaustion from touring. Statements from the family's ministry insisted it was a private medical matter and asked for prayer. But behind the camera flashes and hashtags was a daughter watching her mother fade into silence. Not from illness, but betrayal. The empire stays ours, if she stays silent. The moment was brief, but seismic. A grainy clip, no longer than 12 seconds, leaked from what appeared to be a closed-door conversation. David Mann's voice, unmistakable, calculating. The empire stays ours if she stays silent. Those words broke the dam. Online, chaos followed. The video ripped through social media like a holy firestorm. The caption read simply, "Number exposed." Within minutes, it was reposted on Instagram Reels, TikTok stitches, Twitter threads. People who once saw the Manns as gospel's golden couple were left stunned, betrayed. Among the flood of reactions, a new set of hashtags rose fast and hard. #, justice for Tamela, #, cancel David Mann, #. Expose Jackie. Now Tamela Mann wasn't just a singer. She was a gospel matriarch, a soul-healing, spirit-lifting presence who carried generations with her voice. For her to be silenced, intentionally, institutionally, was not just a scandal. It was sacrilege. Whispers in the hospital room. In a dim hospital room on the outskirts of Dallas, Tamela lay unconscious, wrapped in silence and IVs. The once unstoppable vocalist was now a motionless figure. Tubes ran from her arms. Monitors blinked steadily, rhythmically, as if ticking down a clock no one wanted to reach zero. But someone hadn't given up. A nurse on night duty, quiet, observant, had watched the clip. She had seen Tiffany's face, heard the quiver in her voice. And she believed her. As the digital storm brewed online, she stood at Tamela's bedside and whispered, "They're fighting for you." Tamela's eyelids fluttered. It was small, subtle, but unmistakable. Her fingers twitched. Her breathing deepened. The nurse gasped but kept calm, gently pressing the call button. Doctors would later dismiss the moment as a reflex, a coincidental muscle movement. But for Tiffany, it was a signal, a promise. Her mother was still in there, and she wasn't done yet. The first bombshell. "You're about to hear the truth." Her voice, usually soft and melodic, cut through the night like steel. Anger gave it clarity, pain gave it power. "Y'all want the truth? I've got truth. No more church PR. No more staged family dinners. You're about to hear what really happened to my mother." She held up the speaker and tapped play. The audio was muffled at first. Then David Mann's voice came through. Cold, clear, calculated. Tamela was never meant to survive. Jackie, you knew that. You signed off too. The live chat erupted into chaos. Excuse me? UTF, did he just say? No, this can't be real. Please, God, let this be a lie. But Tiffany wasn't done. She stood firm, tears welling but not falling, her fury holding her together. You think we were the perfect gospel family. You think we were all God and hallelujahs. We were a damn brand. She held up a thick envelope, medical documents, highlighted in red and yellow. This is a prescription form for sedatives, dated 3 weeks before my mom collapsed. Signed by Dr. Jackie. For dementia. My mother didn't have dementia. She was writing a new album. She was rehearsing for tour. She flipped to another page and held it up to the camera. The second recording. Empire at all costs. Then came the second recording. Even more damning. David again, now colder, more desperate. As long as she's silent, the empire stays ours. If she wakes up and talks, we lose everything. It was betrayal not just of a woman, but of faith, of community, of legacy. The comment section spiraled. This is criminal. She needs a lawyer yesterday. Tiffany, we believe you. Cancel him, cancel them all. My grandma loved Tamela. This is heartbreaking. Backlash. The fall from grace. Churches across the country began pulling David Mann's music from playlists. Tour dates were canceled. Sponsors dropped him. Gospel radio hosts distanced themselves. Past sermons he gave on love, honor, and respect now sounded hollow. Clips resurfaced of Tamela looking tired in interviews, David cutting her off mid-sentence. Moments once dismissed as awkward were now interpreted as controlling, manipulative. The golden couple of gospel had become a cautionary tale. As for Jackie, the family's trusted physician and close friend, she disappeared. No statements, no denials, no online presence. Medical board investigations were rumored. Tamela's awakening. Back in the hospital, the nurse who believed in Tiffany gently played the live recording again, this time with the volume just loud enough. And in a moment that stunned the attending staff, Tamela's hand moved. Doctors rushed in, checking monitors, adjusting machines. Her eyelids fluttered again. A tear slipped from the corner of her eye. Coincidence, they said. A reflex, a neurological misfire. But Tiffany knew. Her mother heard her. She felt her, even betrayed, even sedated, even forgotten. Tamela Mann was still fighting. The aftermath. A reckoning begins. As the world watched the Mann empire burn, one thing became painfully clear. This wasn't just a scandal. It was a reckoning of what happens when image trumps truth, when ministry becomes a brand, when a woman's silence is bartered for power. And now, the very kingdom that thrived off Tamela's voice was being torn apart by her absence, and the voice of the daughter who refused to let her be erased. The live that changed everything. No one was prepared for the firestorm Tiffany Mann ignited. Her Instagram live, raw and unfiltered, went viral within minutes. People didn't just watch, they witnessed it. It was less a broadcast, more a confession, a war cry, and a whistleblower leak wrapped into one. The daughter of gospel royalty, Tiffany had always lived in the glossy shadows of her parents, David and Tamela Mann, beloved icons in the Black Christian entertainment world. But that night, she stepped into the light, and the world would never be the same. Her voice had trembled, but her words were sharp. She spoke of deception, manipulation, betrayal. Behind closed doors, beneath the hymns and hallelujahs, there was a darkness the public had never imagined. Her mother, Tamela, known to millions as the voice of gospel inspiration, lay in a hospital bed under mysterious circumstances. The truth, Tiffany warned, was far worse than anyone could guess. "You think this was the only recording?" she said. "Buckle up." The Instagram Live ended, but its aftershocks were just beginning. Digital disappearance. Scrubbing the evidence. By morning, Tiffany's Instagram account had vanished. Her LinkedIn profile was scrubbed clean. Every public-facing piece of her digital identity had been wiped, either by her own hand or something far more insidious. Rumors swirled like wildfire. Had she been silenced, or had she gone into hiding? But before anyone could make sense of it, a cryptic story appeared on a newly created backup page. I have more. The world paused. The faithful prayed. The skeptics prepared for chaos. A church in crisis. The Tamela Mann gospel assassination news broke across every platform. Tamela Mann had been hospitalized under suspicious conditions. Fans and journalists alike swarmed the hospital in Dallas. Faithful followers, some dressed in Sunday best, some in protest black, stood outside with hand-painted signs. We believed in you. David, Tamela deserved better. Arrest Jackie now. Radio hosts who typically filled the air with Sunday gospel halted their programs. One of Houston's most respected Christian stations replaced their sermon hour with a breaking news segment. Tamela Mann, the gospel assassination. The term stuck. It echoed through social media feeds, Sunday sermons, group chats, and even morning talk shows. Black Twitter exploded. TikTok was flooded with think pieces, reenactments, gospel remixes of Tiffany's voiceover. Church elders, many of whom had been friends or collaborators of David and Tamela, were silent, stunned, or in disbelief. The phone call that shattered everything then came the leak. Hollywood Unlocked dropped an audio bombshell, a 17-minute phone call, allegedly recorded from a burner phone Tiffany had found hidden in Jackie Lewis's bathroom cabinet. Jackie, Tamela's personal doctor, had long been trusted within the family's tight-knit circle. The phone, its source confirmed, contained a single recorded call. The voices were unmistakable. David Mann. You should have just stuck with the plan. We already bought the doctor off. You had one job. Jackie Lewis. David, don't blame me. It was Tiffany who started digging around. She was supposed to be on our side. David. She's weak, just like her mother. Always putting emotions before the empire. I should have never trusted either of them. Long pause. The sound of heavy breathing. A click. Then, Jackie. So what do we do now? David. We shut her down, just like we did Tamela. The internet lost its collective mind. Clips from the call circulated in seconds. Audio engineers verified the voices. Speech analysts said it matched David's speech patterns exactly. The implications were horrifying. Black gospel's great fall within hours. Gospel stations across the country pulled David Mann's music. Longtime fans took to TikTok to burn Mann family merchandise, vinyl records, autographed Bibles. Even the Mann's syndicated family TV show was dropped from 3 networks. The fall wasn't just fast, it was biblical. Meanwhile, Tiffany vanished again. No posts, no sightings, nothing. People feared the worst. Return to the sanctuary. Then, just 3 days after the Instagram Live, she walked into First Sanctified Baptist Church in Houston. No makeup, no publicist, no filters. Wearing all black, Tiffany looked like she had buried a part of herself. And maybe she had. Cameras were everywhere, but she didn't flinch. Every step down the center aisle felt heavy, like the echo of unfinished hymns. She approached the pulpit, the same one her father once preached from. The congregation, packed beyond capacity, sat in breathless silence. Tiffany paused. She took one deep breath and spoke. My mother sang about God, but she was living with the devil. Gasps broke out like thunder through the sanctuary. A daughter's revelation. My father told millions that we were a God-fearing family. Tiffany continued. But behind closed doors, he feared losing control more than he feared God. Her voice trembled as memories surfaced. The world had seen Tamela as radiant, commanding, holy. But Tiffany described something else. You saw her glowing on stage, but you didn't see her afterward. Crying in the bathroom, hands shaking, terrified. You didn't see the pills Jackie handed her. Said they'd help her sleep. The truth came in waves. Forged dementia diagnosis. My mother thought she was going crazy. She wasn't. She was being poisoned, bit by bit, day by day, by the people who claimed to love her. The silence was suffocating. Tiffany reached into her purse and slowly pulled out a small vial. The label read, T.A. Mann, 32225, prescribed Dr. Jackie Lewis. This, Tiffany whispered, is what they were giving her. Not vitamins, not supplements. Sedatives strong enough to take down a grown man. The doctor vanishes. Within hours of Tiffany's revelation, the story broke wider. Reporters confirmed that Dr. Jackie Lewis had disappeared. No one had heard from her since the leak. Her office was locked, her phone disconnected. No formal statement was issued, no press conference. Just gone. Some whispered she'd fled. Others feared she was silenced, too. CNN picked up the story. NBC aired a primetime segment. From Stage to Silence, the fall of gospel's golden couple. Even The View dedicated an entire Hot Topic segment to the unfolding saga. Tamela awakens. And then, the unthinkable happened. Tamela Mann opened her eyes. She wasn't fully conscious. Her speech was limited. But when Tiffany walked into the hospital room, her mother's eyes flicked to her. Tiffany rushed to her side. She took her hand. The nurse leaned close to Tamela's ear. Do you know who this is? Tamela didn't speak, but her lips moved. Betrayed. Tiffany dropped to her knees, clutching her mother's hand. I'm so sorry, Mama, she cried. I tried. I didn't know. I didn't see it until it was too late. A nurse in the corner captured the moment on video. It hit 1 million views in 7 hours. Outside the hospital, chaos reigned. Security tightened. News vans multiplied. And Tiffany? She vanished into the elevator with her mother. David's vanishing act. David Mann had not posted since Tiffany's live. No statement, no appearances, no music, nothing. Until paparazzi found him at a gas station in Waco, Texas, alone, wearing a baseball cap and oversized glasses. When asked if he really orchestrated his wife's collapse for control over the Mann empire, his answer was cold. You don't know what she did. And with that, the mystery deepened. What could Tamela have possibly done that was so dangerous? What secret was worth destroying a legacy for? The gospel civil war. The streets were screaming. Social media transformed into a digital courtroom. Every post dissected the leaked audio, the pill bottles, the hospital records, Tiffany's trembling hands. Fans who once worshipped David and Tamela now turned into detectives, piecing together the puzzle. Churches canceled performances. Pastors refused to speak. But outside, people gathered with candles and albums, crying and praying. One woman, holding a worn vinyl of Best Days, sobbed to a reporter. She prayed me through my cancer. Now she's fighting alone. That ain't right. That ain't godly. A new beginning or the final chapter? Inside the hospital, Tiffany held her mother's hand again. Her voice was hoarse, her eyes bloodshot. You heard it, didn't you, Mama? She whispered. You heard him say it. Tamela's fingers twitched, her lips parted. Tiffany. The word was barely audible, a whisper against the whirlwind. But it was enough. Tiffany gasped. Her body collapsed in on itself with grief, exhaustion, relief. I'm here, Mama. I'm not leaving. I fought for you. I told the world. The nurse sprinted for doctors. Security rushed in. Cameras outside caught the flash of medical urgency. And then, Tiffany was gone. Into the elevator, into the unknown. The aftermath is only the beginning. What happens next? That's the question haunting everyone. Is this justice, a reckoning, or just the beginning of something darker? One thing's certain, gospel's golden empire will never be the same. And Tiffany Mann? She just became the most dangerous woman in gospel. Rushed into testing. A miracle no one could explain. The fluorescent lights in the hospital corridor buzzed faintly as Tamela Mann was wheeled swiftly into a diagnostic room. Doctors in scrubs exchanged glances filled with confusion and urgency. Only hours ago, Tamela, beloved gospel singer, matriarch, and cultural icon, had been comatose, unresponsive for weeks. The hospital staff was on edge. Something had changed, and no one could explain how or why. Machines beeped rhythmically, nurses murmured medical jargon, but one truth lingered just beneath the surface. This was no ordinary recovery. Tiffany Mann stood by the doorway, arms crossed tightly across her chest, watching with a gaze sharp enough to cut glass. The doctor spoke of new neural activity, of possible stimulus triggers, of spontaneous brain recovery. But Tiffany didn't need their theories. She knew. Tamela hadn't stirred because of medicine or some miracle of science. No, Tamela had awoken because truth had finally been spoken aloud. And the truth had power. The calm before another storm. It had only been 3 days since Tiffany had broken the internet with her emotional Instagram live. In it, she had dared to challenge the gospel world's most untouchable figures. Her father, David Mann, and family friend turned manager Jackie. The live had drawn hundreds of thousands, with many more watching the replay. She had exposed the betrayal, the manipulation, and the poison, both literal and figurative, that had nearly silenced her mother forever. But just when it felt like the storm was beginning to settle, another bomb dropped. The voicemail that shook the gospel world. In an era where secrets are as fragile as a screenshot, it took less than an hour for TMZ to publish the next scandal. A leaked voicemail, this time from Jackie herself. "We did what we had to do," Jackie said, her voice measured but sharp. She was becoming unstable. She kept talking about demons in the house and said God told her to shut down the studio. "You think BET would have kept our show if she was rambling like that on camera? We protected the brand." The audio cut like a knife. Tiffany was pacing in the hospital hallway when she heard it. Jackie's voice, cold and calculated, speaking about her mother as if she were a product gone bad, a liability threatening their empire. Her breath hitched, her heart pounded. She didn't scream, she didn't cry. She simply pulled out her phone. Instagram Live Round 2. 180,000 in 5 minutes. When Tiffany went live again, it took 5 minutes for 180,000 viewers to join. The comments section exploded in real time. The gospel community was watching. So was the secular world. What had started as a family drama was becoming a national reckoning. Tiffany stood firm in the frame, her eyes red but dry. She wasn't just grieving. She was enraged. "Let me get this straight," she began, voice trembling but resolute. "You drug my mother under a fake diagnosis without her consent, just so you wouldn't lose a show? You wanted her gone to keep your image clean, and now you call it protecting the brand, Jackie." The viewers held their breath as Tiffany's voice rose, fierce and full of righteous fury. "I hope every church you step into booms you out the door because you ain't gospel. You ain't godly. You a devil in heels." The comments erupted. "Expose her, Tiffany." Within seconds, the feed exploded. Comments flooded in faster than anyone could keep up with. "Expose her, Tiffany. We knew something was off. This is spiritual abuse. She did it for a show. Jackie needs to be arrested." Tiffany stood in the frame, shoulders squared, but her eyes were stormy. Her hand trembled slightly as she clutched her phone. Then she leaned in, her voice low, trembling with fury and pain. "I talked to my mama's real doctor," she said, "the one they let go before they brought in Jackie's so-called friend." She took a deep breath, her eyes sweeping over the comments still pouring in. He told me something that broke me. Said my mama never showed any signs of dementia, not one. Not a single medical indication. The feed stilled for a moment, like the entire world was holding its breath. He was shocked when I showed him the reports, said it didn't add up, none of it. Her voice cracked, and she paused, swallowing hard. But right after Jackie got control, right after she started signing the papers, my mama was put on 6 different sedatives. She held up 6 fingers for emphasis. 6? Her voice rose, fueled by rage now. My mama, a woman who could remember every note, every lyric she'd ever written, suddenly couldn't form a sentence. The comments slowed. Viewers could feel something shifting, something darker unfolding. She couldn't sing anymore, couldn't even hum, Tiffany whispered, wiping her eyes. I'd sit with her and she'd stare at the wall, confused, scared. She told me she thought she was losing her mind. Tiffany's voice cracked again, and this time the tears came freely. But it wasn't her mind that was going. It was her will, her spirit. And it wasn't natural. She looked directly into the camera now, her eyes clear despite the tears. It was y'all, poisoning her, quietly, slowly, silencing her, drugging her into submission while you smiled for the cameras, while you called it care, while you made deals and sold stories. A mother's photo, proof of the crime. From her pocket, Tiffany pulled out 2 photographs and held them up to the camera. The first, Tamela, 2 weeks before the collapse. Her eyes vibrant, smile glowing with the warmth that had made her a household name. She looked like a woman at peace, ready to take on the world. The second, Tamela, hooked to machines, pale, barely breathing, eyes glazed, mouth parted in a silent scream. You did this, Tiffany whispered, and I swear to God, y'all not getting away with it. Inside Tamela's room, a miracle unfolds. While the internet was on fire, something unexplainable happened inside Tamela's hospital room. She sat up. Monitors beeped steadily, and the doctors froze mid-sentence. She looked around, lips dry but moving. "Where's David?" she whispered. A nurse, startled but kind, leaned closer. "Tiffany exposed him," she said gently. "He's gone, and you're safe now." Tamela nodded. She didn't speak again. Her eyes fluttered closed, not from sedation, but from peace. She was finally free. The gospel community in chaos. As Tiffany's live reverberated across platforms, the gospel world found itself at a tipping point. Pastors, choir directors, gospel DJs, everyone was talking. Former staffers from the Mann's production house began speaking out anonymously. What they revealed painted a chilling picture. "I thought she had memory loss," one wrote. "But now it all makes sense. They were pushing her out." Others spoke of NDAs, verbal abuse, and Tamela's growing isolation from the family business. A woman who had once been the heart of every decision had been slowly edged out, replaced by handlers and silence. The final twist. David's voice sealed his fate. Just when the community thought the scandal had peaked, when secrets had been spilled, reputations shredded, and alliances destroyed, Tiffany dropped one final bombshell. No flashy visuals this time. No dramatic lighting or strategically edited footage. Just a simple audio clip uploaded to her channel with the title, "Listen Closely." The screen was black. The only thing that played was a quiet crackle of static, then a breath, and then his voice. "David, if she doesn't die, then you and I both go down. Jackie, it's that simple." A moment of silence followed, long enough for the weight of the words to press like iron against the listener's chest. Then he continued. Calm. Calculated. "I already paid the doctor. He knows what to do." That was it. The audio ended. No outro music, no closing remarks. Tiffany didn't say a word. She didn't need to. Within seconds, the comment section exploded. Wait, what? Did he just say what I think he said? That's David. That's 100% David. Jackie? Who's Jackie? Speculation spread like wildfire. Theories formed, twisted, evolved. Screenshots were taken. Voice experts weighed in. TikTok detectives stitched the clip into slow-motion analyses. Old posts were dug up, dissected, and recontextualized. But the words themselves, they didn't need interpretation. Tiffany, the curse breaker. Tiffany didn't go live for attention, drama, or clout. She went live to do something far more powerful. She went live to break a generational curse. In front of the world, she made a choice that many women only dream of having the strength to make. To speak her truth, no matter the cost. For far too long, especially within religious communities, silence has been mistaken for strength, and suffering has been dressed up as obedience. Tiffany shattered that silence. She spoke not just for herself, but for the countless women who have endured abuse, manipulation, and betrayal behind closed doors, hidden by the veil of faith and the fear of judgment. In choosing to go live, Tiffany disrupted a cycle that has quietly continued through generations. The one that tells women to pray harder, stay silent, or submit more in the face of pain and mistreatment. Her voice was not a cry for sympathy, but a call for accountability and truth. With every word, she carried herself with courage. Not rage, not vengeance, courage. Her message wasn't chaotic, it was clear. She didn't speak in bitterness, but with clarity and purpose. She didn't lash out, she illuminated. That kind of bravery doesn't come from a place of impulse. It comes from a place of deep resolve, from a heart that has been broken and healed enough to want better not just for herself, but for others. Tiffany embodied a quiet strength that said, "This ends with me." And she did it all with love. Love for her own peace. Love for her future. Love for the women watching who needed someone, anyone, to go first. She wasn't just exposing injustice. She was modeling freedom. She was showing others what it looks like to choose yourself without apology, to stop surviving and start healing, to name the harm even when it's wrapped in religious language and charismatic leadership. She wasn't crazy, she wasn't sick, she was targeted. That sentence struck like thunder. For too long, society has labeled women who speak out as emotional, unstable, or vindictive. Tiffany turned that narrative on its head. She wasn't imagining things. She wasn't overreacting. She was being harmed, and she decided to stop hiding it. When the face of gospel is unmasked. What happens when the person we trusted to bring light is revealed to have lived in darkness? When the very face of the gospel, the man who preached hope, healing, and salvation, turns out to have caused deep harm? We are left with a painful reckoning. It's not just about the fall of a public figure. It's about the people left broken in the shadow of that fall. It's about Tamela and the many others like her. This is not about rumors or whisper campaigns. This is not gossip. This is truth. This is a movement born from silence that has gone on too long. For years, those in power, cloaked in robes, standing behind pulpits, have used God's name to manipulate, to control, and, in the worst cases, to abuse. And too often, the church has turned its gaze away. Too often, we've protected the institution at the expense of the individual. But not anymore. Because Tamela's story is not just hers. It echoes the experience of so many women who have been silenced, disbelieved, or pushed into the background while their abusers stood in the spotlight, preaching sermons about grace. We must ask, what gospel are we following if we ignore the cries of the oppressed? What kind of Jesus are we representing when we stay quiet about injustice? Tamela deserves justice. Not because she is perfect, but because she is human. Because truth matters. because healing can't begin until we acknowledge the harm. And if we believe in a gospel that truly liberates, then we must be willing to confront the rot within our own walls. That confrontation will be uncomfortable. It will demand that we let go of idols, that we pull back the curtain and ask hard questions about power, accountability, and the kind of leadership we've allowed to flourish.